Wagwan sports fans, welcome back to another very, very special episode. I'm your host, Joe Mar,
I'm Rush.
and this is This or That Sports TV, the place you guys come to get the best, most interesting, and riveting sports topics, discussions, and debates on the internet.
You left out one part, bro. Interviews.
Interviews.
Because that's what we're doing today. People, we have a long awaited interview for you guys today. I know you guys saw the title. I know you guys saw the thumbnail. We're going to have a real good football conversation today, bro, and I'm excited for it. So, before we even get into that,
I mean, on our last live, I put out a list of people that I needed to get on my channel, Mr. Chung, the new Gen Sec, the coach of the Reggae Boys, the former coach of the Reggae Boys, and Mr. Rudolph Speid.
Here we go.
So we managed to check one off the list, bro, and it's been long awaited.
All right. Before we get into the interview, though, people, don't forget to like the video. Leave a comment on the video and subscribe to This or That Sports TV. Please, my big man. What else you want to do?
I want you guys to share the video to at least 10 people. But because this video is so special and long awaited, I want you to get us at least 7 subscribers for this one. And then each and every one of you guys can get us that many subscribers. Do you know how many subscribers I'll get us by the end of the day?
All right, people.
But real quick, let me take out the AirPods, bro, because all ears.
All right, let's go. Let's bring the man into the stream. All right, sir. Good day. How are you doing?
I'm good. And you?
I'm fine, and I'm fine.
Great.
All right. So I know that you've been on a couple channels already. You've done your favorite interviews. I know you don't shy away from the interviews. So we're not even going to do the whole, intro to Rudolph Speid and all of that. We're going to start with a football conversation. We're going to have a good football conversation as the title will say.
Yeah.
No, let's get into it. How did you get into football? That's the first question I have, because I think we know who you are. We know what you do. We know what you own. We know what you run. But how did Rudolph Speid get into football in Jamaica?
Well, I've always been in football. I attended Windsor Castle Primary School in Portland, and I was on the football team. So I never left after that. That's from primary school.
Right, and then after that, how did you professionally, how did you get into it?
Oh, well, after that, I went to Titchfield High School. I played on the Dacosta Cup team that went to the 1982 finals against Cornwall College. That was the first part of politics I found in football, where Titchfield is the Stars of the East, one in Jamaica. The final was playing, but we ended up playing on the same pitch that Cornwall College played their matches on in the final. So that was the first taste of football politics for us. We did lose the match 1-0. I don't even want to talk about it, but even when we lost the match, those times were like violent. Soldier to take us off the field even after we lose. Escort us out of the venue. So that was like the first time, I was out of my comfort zone. Since then, I kind of understand the sport. I understand what is what is likely to happen once you're partaking.
Yeah. So basically, implying that you've been exposed to the political nature of Jamaican football from a tender age. So what drove you to literally take up the football politics per se?
So nothing drove. Well, people always ask me. I've never tried to get a position in football or work for that matter. I've never applied for a job. People always ask me to do things for them because they think that I'm able to do it, and I'm what you call a nationalist. So if there's something to help my country, I'd always say.
All right.
So in Kasafa, what happened? I was playing for Cavalier, and under numerous coaches, we got relegated to Speid, which is tier 5 in Jamaica, the lowest tier that is under Major League. And I just went to watch a Major League match one day, and the club basically had just ceased to exist, Cavalier. And the administrator at the time, Margaret Sutherland, said to me, you're not registered in the team. And I said, well, we don't have a team really. We don't have no management, nothing. And she said, by that time I was an old player. And she said, no man, come with what you have. And I went, registered about 16 players playing the Speid. We got promotion the same year. We came back to Major League. So that is kind of how I get into football administration. Really by default, it wasn't like by design.
Right. And how you find it so far? The job being in the administrative end of football and not the playing side. Do you enjoy it?
Look, I am one of those persons that when pressure comes, I'm at my best. So it don't really bother me. It don't matter what people say. I know who I am. I know that most people can't do what I do or as well as I can. So it don't really bother me. I mean, and I'm also a firm believer in that if you're better than me, I accept it. I'm fine with all of those different scenarios. So, but one thing I'm going to do is live my life the way I want to live it, not how somebody else want me to live it. So that is the reason why possible at the time there's differences between me and other persons. But I really don't care. I didn't tell them how to live their life. I believe if there's anything at the back end for me to deal with, I'll deal with it in the best way I can. So I'm not really worried. So I'm what you call a progressive. So if you notice, most things that people have a problem with me is something that we have never done before that I've implemented. But guess what? I didn't invent it, It's in other countries working fine. So, you just have to just try to catch up. And that's what we're trying to do.
All right. So for people who may not be 100% familiar, because 100% certain, because me myself is not necessarily 100% certain. So please illustrate to us. What is the exact role that you play in the nation's football? Because we know that you're involved in the politics of football. We know you're involved in the administration of Jamaica's football. What is your exact title and what is the exact role that Rudolph?
So me give you a little background. So first, I was in CASAFA as the treasurer in CASAFA for 6 years. And I became the president for 6 years, right?
Time span?
Huh?
Time span, like from what time?
Oh, 2014, I was voted out of the CASAFA office as president, 2014. But 12 years before that, I was the treasurer for 6 and president for 6, right? Probably the second longest serving president ever in CASAFA. And there we did some good things. Electronic registration of player. I was the one who brought Clara to the table for sponsorship. You might have just heard about it when you were kids.
I played under 13. Clara.
Yeah, well, that was me. Every club.
We struggled against Cavaliers. Some would say the referees were a bit.
No, you don't struggle. You just lose the game. Don't say you struggle. You just lose the game. If you get 3 love, you're good. If you probably get 6 or something more, you just lose the game. We call it that.
Yeah, but I remember
so no, there's no doubt. Look here, people will say that, but let me just give you an example why you shouldn't be saying that. Yeah. In 2011, Jamaica field a team in the under-17 World Cup, which is the best any team has ever played in a World Cup tournament.
Mm-hmm.
There were 9 Cavalier players on the team. We draw with France, include Paul Pogba. We get 1 love most from Argentina. I don't remember. Yeah. We were very close. So those players, even if you pretend that they're not good in Jamaica, you couldn't pretend that they wasn't good at the international level.
That was O'Shane, Jenkins, Nico Campbell.
So you couldn't beat those teams. No care what you did, you couldn't beat those teams. Yeah, you know better too. As a matter of fact, when our team played the national team and we use our player and the national team use their player, I don't even want to tell you the score. So there's no way a club team could beat that team. So we could just move on. And I can give you more examples.
So you were the president for president for 6, treasurer for 6, and then after you were voted out as president.
Right. But I didn't stop there. I was the treasurer for the JFF. Because remember, I just don't have football skills, I have finance skills. So I was the treasurer for the JFF for probably about 3 or 4 years. Every single president, Captain Burrell, Boxhill, Mike Ricketts, Burrell again, I have worked for all of those presidents. Every single one asked me to do something in football. Burrell had me on 4 different committees. As a matter of fact, Mike Ricketts only had me on 2. And Boxhill, I was the treasurer and I was on a lot of committees. So then Burrell came out, come back, and I was a little bit silent, but what I did in that period of time was develop Cavalier to become a powerhouse. Now, don't believe Cavalier only have a male team. We also have the second best female team in the country. And as you know, we're the champion a year ago, and we came 3rd this year. Last 4 years, we're 3rd most time. I now serve on the CFU Audit and Finance Committee. I'm trained by FIFA to run a national association. I'm doing my A license now. I'm also a coaching educator, so I coach young coaches to coach. I also, based in the last 4 years, transfer 12 players overseas. I also is the employer 40 persons that have their families. That's my thing. Now, the part of job that everybody talk about is now that I'm the chairman of the technical and development committee.
Yeah.
Right.
Which to me, if you're looking at the body of work that I've done, that's like the least. But people just put the most emphasis on it because they realize how powerful the position is. Because my committee recommends to the board on technical matters. And the truth is, in football, everything is technical and the rest is just support. And that's why. So on the technical committee, we came up with a technical plan. And this is the part that people don't talk about, which I don't even understand. So for instance, there's a coaching school, right? We now have 27 B license coach. We have 6 coaches doing the A license, right? We have about 12 coaches that finished their C license, and we have about 100 coaches lined up for their C license. Our plan is by 2025, we'll have pro license coaches in Jamaica, local coaches that are pro license. So that is one of the things that we're working on and trying to get it here. Right, that was also a brainchild of this administration, technical committee. Second, club licensing is something that we strident on. That is why we showed like a water and an arena. So people upset with me because you have to have a club license to play in the JFF leagues. Only 2 continents have teams with A club license, right? Jamaica Premier Leagues are C, and then the other top teams in the world, countries in the world, they have clubs with B license. Now, you can see the correlation between the teams qualifying as a B, C, D, or A license club, because it's the only 2 continents that ever won the World Cup, and they are the only ones that have A license clubs. That is South America and Europe. Everybody else fall in a B, C, D, or D is the lowest. I think RE. I don't remember which one is the lowest. So Jamaica best clubs are in C. So one of the plan we have is that no, you have to step up. So we start to be very exact on clubs. In the Premier League, must be at least a C, and in the Tier 2 must at least be a D, because it's the only way you're going to improve. So also, you know that Belgium was ranked 66 in the world when they started their coaching school. They are always ranked in the top 3 now. So that is one of the other things that we implement and say, no, a national coach must have a B license. We don't care how much title you win before. We just don't care. You must have a B license. And as soon as we have enough A license, we're going to say Premier League club teams, you must have an A license to coach in it. So those are the things that I'm more interested in and I'm working on, but nobody remember those. By the way, I've also won more than 40 titles in Jamaica, maybe 50 local titles. I just Super League, Premier League, I win them all. Schoolboy, Flow Cup, I win them all, right? I just telling that just to add some more things to my resume.
Yeah.
So we work on the Premier League, the new format of Premier League. That was us to work on that for that to be what it is now. The Women's Premier League coming on board, and it will be new at the end of this month. And what I'm working on now is elite youth competition. So make sure so that the best play against the best, and that is what we're working on now. So last year, when we came up with the under 20, some association, so we can't play them on bonus, and we just went ahead and play anyway. Because that's me. If I think I'm going to do it and take the consequence at the end, of course you can't ban a football team to play football. So that doesn't even make any sense. But you see the type of fight when you have with people to make the things better, right? So all those things doing.
I've tried attempted to fight out in that regard.
If what?
Who would have attempted to fight you out from like competing in that under 20 competition?
Well, the Casafa wrote me a letter and go and ban the clubs who play in it. We didn't care. 5 of us still play and then couldn't ban anybody.
Because essentially what Jamaican football attempts to do is to segregate youth football to play parish by parish and not have a national football youth competition, right?
That's what we want to have, an elite youth national competition.
Yeah.
So that is the next thing I'm trying to put in place. So all the others, they are in place, in training and working, coaching school, licensing, coaching qualification, you have to have it. Premier League, Women Premier League, and the last one is elite football that I'm trying to work on now. Once I do that, I'm gone though, I'll not hold this post anymore. But I know what I'm trying to achieve and the reasons why, and I'm going to achieve them because I've never really failed at anything that I've done. Never ever. So I don't mind. But so you have a lot of these distractors, non-progressive football person who want the status quo to remain the same, having issues. When it comes to selection of coaches, yes, it's my committee recommend, or we remove, or we take back with confidence in any coach. So we can tell the board, so we are recommending employ the coach of a senior team, women team, under 20, under 17, whatever. And when we lose confidence in you, my committee is going to tell the board, so we not support you no more.
But how far does the influence of a technical committee and your influence, how far does that go? If you say hire this person, is that person going to be hired, or they still have the finance?
Majority of time, but the board would grill us as to the reason why or why not.
So if just to have it, in plain writing or in words, if the technical committee led by Mr. Rudolph Speid say, here what, hire Joe Graham for this position, as long as
he has a good chance. Very good chance.
My question I want to ask, has the technical committee been an institution that has been around Jamaica football for a long time, or is it a recently engineered post?
No, it was always there. I was a vice chair for years on it, on the board. It's not new. The problem is it has never been this ambitious.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is why you have this amount of focus on it. So for instance, normally, and the president allows us to do our work on the board. Normally, what would happen is that a coach would come here and just somebody recommend him and him take the reins. Now, them have to go through a rigorous progress. So we say, no, interviews will look different people to interview. Then we decide and say, this is a number one, this is a number two, this is a number three. When we give the board that type of thing, 1, 2, 3, they can choose anyone they want. It's their prerogative. So they would go and they would sit, and decide. But if we say you're number one, usually you have a very, very good chance. And if we say you're not good enough and you should be sacked, you have a very good chance of being sacked. I'm not lie. But the truth is, if our committee didn't have that confidence, I would have resigned anyway. If the board didn't think so, we have that confidence, why would they give us these titles? So it's not me alone, we have 5 other members and we vote democratically and even in a famous case when you're always here, so the vote come in 5-2 or 3-4. In some cases, the vote did come back negative, and say don't sack the person, and we have to just catch and wait till we care about the vote again, or our next member care about the vote again. So that's how it goes. So even when we were struggling to qualify in the World Cup, there was time when people at committee say, time the coach go now, and it not go through because of the votes, and then there's a time when it go through and it happened.
And perfect that open a can of worms. And I'm not going to go back to Coach Whitmore's sacking just yet. What I want to ask you about is Jamaica has, I think, almost 3 prominent teams, and I think this is how it is with any football association. The men's national team, of course, is the big guns. Then the female national team, I think, should be the second most important team. Then the men's under 20s. Right, those are the 3 most important teams in any FA internationally, you would say, right? Please.
All of them important to me. You said that. I don't agree with you because I don't.
You don't agree with that?
No, you're talking about what people perceive. From a development point of view, I don't. I believe in from 15 they should be equally important. As a matter of fact, I believe 15 and 17 is even more important than 20 because by the time you get to under 20. Or what happens is that these people will start to separate themselves by themselves because private clubs would start to develop them further because they are at the age where they can sell
but not necessarily from a developmental standpoint, but I mean like to football's economy. Those are the 3 biggest programs to the economy of the FA. Please walk because we've seen recently where all 3 of those aforementioned programs would have gotten new head coaches. The senior men's team would have recently gotten a new head coach, the senior women's team, and the under 20 team. So can you please just walk us through the decision making with all of those coaches, like from recently to most? So we have Helgrenson, then Donaldson, and then Gale before. Please walk us through the technical committee's impact on those appointments.
Right. So in Al Grimson's case, you know what happened. We had Theodore Whitmore, then we had Paul. And you all know what happened, you know, with the striking and turmoil.
Right.
So we at the technical committee was very concerned that we're not performing at our optimum because of these turmoils. I mean, and you can't blame anybody. You can blame the JFF, you can blame the player, you can blame the coach, you can blame everybody you want to blame. But what our thing is not to blame anybody. We just say this is not going to work anymore based on what we are doing. Right? So we did go on a path to look for different coaches. And we found about 5. Now, some of these coaches asked us not to call the names because they are in contract negotiations or they were in jobs before. So I'm not going to call them. We just have to take more for it. So there was about 5 coaches that we spoke to, different from Mr. Hall. But this coach is unique. There's only 340,000 persons living in Iceland. When they went to the World Cup, the country was going through a recession. So they had no money. That sounds similar to us. We have 3 million people. I mean, and he did qualify the team to go to World Cup. He also beat England in the Euros. And he has gone to the World Cup with the women team too, just as advisor, not as really as a coach. So he has been there more than once. So we just couldn't find anybody better than him. So it's not because we didn't like Mr. Hart, but this guy was just so much superior. So we went for him.
Is it?
100% agree with that, by the way.
Yeah, we spoke about it after the announcement. And did this ever come up in the meeting about the coach? We said that one thing we like about this selection was that it's not familiar. And a lot of times you have coaches who are familiar with the players, they're familiar with the JFF, they're familiar with, you know, a club or whatever. And then we think, you know, because it's only human, some people are going to, you know, they're going to like what they're familiar with, you know. And so this person, he's, you know, I want to think that he's going to be 100% objective in the job because he's not familiar. Did that ever come up in the conversations?
A lot of things came up in the conversation between me and him. I mean, we talk about almost every single thing. But the more we spoke, when I introduced him to the president and the technical committee and the rest of the person, the more we spoke, was more everybody was convinced that he's the right person. Everybody was convinced 100% that he's the right person. I mean, I don't agree with you 100% because I straddle all 3 phases of society, the elites, you know, the people in the gutter, the people who walk on the street. I walk with all of them. None of them has ever been able to get me to do anything that I don't want to do or that I know that is wrong. So I don't really buy that. I think people should be professional and don't matter at your job. Remember, you can be unprofessional in other things, but your job, you should be professional all the time. So I don't buy that because they're familiar, make them do stupidness. I think them do stupidness because they want to do it or they see a benefit or advantage for themselves. That's how I think it out. But with this coach, there was no doubt in my mind. This is what we were doing before, was going for coaches who are with promise. That's what we were doing before. For this coach, we didn't go for promise.
Oh, you got somebody established.
Yeah, that's the difference. We finished with promise.
Yep.
All the appointments. That's the difference now. We try the promise thing, it don't work.
And to be honest, Rush, that's what we've been begging for. You know, we've been begging for an established. Say what you may, people might call me racist, you know, or you know, whatever you want to call it. I've been wanting an established European or South American coach to come and bring some sense of professionalism to a professional team, which is what the Reggae Boys are right now. So we can't be hiring promising coaches for players who are already established and professionals, which is why I was so impressed with this appointment. Speak to us about the senior female head coach appointment. That was a new
Donaldson.
And here
that came up under different circumstances. You know that the people that didn't want Mr. Blaine. I mean, to be honest, what they posited to us, the technical committee went over it and didn't find that it was really credible. That we should fire him, right? So we didn't. The board don't fire him. We can't. I mean, other countries would have dealt with it different. You remember somebody tried it with Spain, and Spain promised to ban every player for 3 to 5 years. The woman, right? That was Spain just said, listen, you can't pick coach, go away. And 3 to 5 years may I give you if you not try it. And they back down. We weren't so draconian. We listened. President met with them. We listened. We went and we got 3 coaches from overseas to coach the team after Mr. Vin Blaine. And Lon was one of the coaches that we interviewed. As I say again, people ask us not to call the names because,
no problem.
Right. And then the board chose Lon. So that is the way. And again, he was tried and proven. He went to the World Cup before the team. So we didn't have any issues with him being the head coach. Although we did have another really good coach lined up too from Europe, which was really good too, but we didn't have any issues in Lon because he's proven. And the board actually chose. They decided. We didn't decide. We just gave them 3 names. So this is the order of the names, and they decided. So that's really kind of our work. We don't really tell the board neither say it affect this person. As with Marcel Gale, otherwise from me, he was probably the most successful local coach we have in Jamaica. And we just seems so with Miran, we tried with Vassell, we tried Peart. We have to still groom our coaches them in our jobs as best as we can put them in, right? So, but now we step up a bit. I think the next under 20 coach will be somebody else. Mr. Gale will still be understudying next under 20 coach, and it's gonna be somebody tried and proven again.
Was that one?
First of all, you can't just gloss over that.
No,
so the next under 20 coach, will be somebody more solidified, somebody proven at that level. Because Mr. Speid, obviously we're speaking here in as 2 men. That under 20 team that we brought to is the Honduras was an uber talented team that should have done better than they performed. Wouldn't you, as the chairman of the technical board, agree with that assertion?
Well, so let me give you how me think about football.
All right.
A team that wants to qualify for World Cup or do very well, they can't start training 6 months before and think that it's preparation. So every time I hear people talk about preparation at 3 months, we should get 6, I always just laugh. Because if you want to play in under 20 tournament, your preparations will start at under 30. Right?
Right.
It's not, you can't come when you're a person at 18 or 19 and say, you have to start preparing for under 20 tournament. That's just foolishness. No other good, that is why I'm trying to establish the elite youth competition. So from the age of 13, the best will be played against the best. You can start track all of those players for over 4 years before they reach under 17.
Mm-hmm.
And then you continue to track them. You have to remember, say, even our government didn't really help the process because they wouldn't allow us to train. So you couldn't pick out people. The people from the diaspora who kept on saying they have all of these magnificent players. When they came and we carried them in a camp, half of them have 2 left foot. So I mean, it was just difficult to put that team together, the right team. I think we could have had more talented player in the team too. I mean, we could have picked some additional player too. Then
you might name a few of those players.
No, I won't call any player name because as soon as I call a player name, everybody have a blog and start talk all about crap. So let me just leave player name out of the conversation.
All right.
So we could have done that. But also the coach, again, young, first foray into that type of thing. Mm-hmm. So when you look on it, the totality of it, probably if we perform a little better, would I make it? But I don't know if I'm going to kill it. I don't know.
Mr. Speid, was that hiring on promise again though? Because you said that
Yes, it was promise. Yeah, so but we stopped doing the promise thing.
Yeah.
The good thing about Mr. Al Grimson, he said that, listen, I'm going to, when I come full-time in January, every single coach that have these units, I'm going to carry them with me on some tours and make them understand what this thing is all about. So I'm still going to keep the youngsters, the local coaches at the 15, 17, assistant 20, and our assistant and the senior team, So Mr. Al Grimson is the one who's going to be charged with helping them along. Because we must develop our own still no matter what. So it's a 2-pronged approach we have it, the child.
And to that point, I like that direction. You know, I've always held the firm belief that, for example, Gareth Southgate is heavily involved in the under 17s and under 20 program, right? Within the English program. And I believe that's the model that we should apply. Don't you think, or wouldn't it be wise? Obviously, I'm not qualified in any way to make such a assertion, but wouldn't it be wise to have Helgrimson be not only the head coach of the senior team, but also a member of the technical committee, somebody who is responsible for overseeing all the age group football?
No, because remember we have a technical director in Wendell Dunzel, you know. So I mean, there's actually a person who have that post in the JFF, right? So he's the one who is supposed to over. He's supposed.
Are you guys responsible for proposing appointment and that person as well?
Yeah.
So
But
the
apart that,
Wendell Dunzel has full confidence of the technical committee.
up to this point, remember that gentleman has gone to 4 World Cup. You know?
Yeah.
Nobody one like him have no use. You know, 4 and go to Jamaica, 4 involving all 4. So we kind of tend to realize him is a legend still. Him very soft spoken, but he's very talented.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. So what that may say, the technical committee job is different, you know. So no one try and mix it up. That development we are policy. So like for instance, we just greenlight a policy for Jamaica to license all the academies in Jamaica. So we have and it have rules as to how the academies must operate. So those are the things that we do. We're not really. And then the technical director is the enforcer and the general secretary. So and then we monitor, right? But we don't interfere like that. So he's the technical director now. We don't have no issues with him because we think him doing thing. But one of the things that we found out that knowledge, if you don't have knowledge of something, you can't do it.
Yeah.
He's one of the person who is also on the A license course that we're making sure that he improve himself as we go along. Because it's not that him is not a man to do things already, but you know, he's one of the person that we're improving as we go along. And we make it mandatory, you have to do it.
Yes. All right. Talk to us about player selection. How far does the influence of the technical committee go in terms of player selection, whether it be senior, under 20, or women's?
Right. So the influence that we have is that we have a rule in place that says for under 15 teams, you must only have 4 overseas-based player, overseas born player, not base, born player in an under 15 team. Under 17.
Why is that rule? Speak to us about what would be the reason behind that rule for the 15s.
Right, I'm coming, but also I'm coming back to it. So also the 17, you can only have 6. The 20, we have it about 50-50, right? And that rule is the senior team, you can pick everybody born from overseas without no rules. So those policies were put in place because we want to ensure that development takes place locally. So just imagine you didn't give your players a chance at the under 15 level to really express themselves. It's not about winning there, it's really about it. There's no World Cup to go at under 15 either, so it's about the development. And that is why we put in those rules to protect our local industry. Remember, this is something that we do in football, but it's not new, you know. Remember, if you go to England, when West Indies used to dominate, England say, no, you can only carry 2 West Indian per team. Then you go down to 1. Everybody protects their local folks. We can't have an association and nobody from Jamaica can play on the national teams, and it don't make no sense. You will never develop properly. It will be just superficial. So that is why those rules are put in place. Remember, you know, Brazil don't have to put in that rule in place, but you'll never find 4 person who didn't born in Brazil playing on a Brazil under 15.
Because they're just good enough. Can we
exactly? So they don't have to put the rules. So people will say Brazil now have Mexico.
Well, Brazil have hundreds of millions of people in Mr. Speid.
Yeah, but if you go Croatia with the same amount of people, like it's the same thing. If you go Iceland, it's the same thing. Every country, some of them put the rule in, some don't.
No, because remember, you know, with the winners generation and the fact that Jamaican men are generally, you know, active, as people would say. Because of this, we are able, you know, for better or for worse, to spread our roots all over this earth. And we're saying that we want continuity. From the youth levels to the senior team. So if we had the likes of, let's say, Jamari, Akanias Boys Clark, Jamari, Scarlett, so on and so forth, who though it be based in England, at 13 years old is super promising.
Mhm.
If we had all those players playing together, though being born in England from 13, 14 years old, together, with the talented, the Pearsons and the Blakes, so on and so forth. If we had those people playing together, regardless of how many, don't you think this under 2017, then under 20 team would have been even better?
But you really believe that they want to play for Jamaica at 17? Come on.
No, that is a conversation we need to have now.
Come on. You really think that a lot of players were we ask, even when they are 24, they're still hoping to play for England senior. Then tell us no.
And I get that, and that's
a lot of those players say, their words, not mine. Listen, I'm an Englishman. I know my father is Jamaican, but me's an Englishman. Me no know nothing, but I've never come to Jamaica yet. I mean, why are you asking me to play for Jamaica? We have had those conversations, you know. So I know a lot of people believe that those people want to play for us. It's not true.
No, I understand that, Mr. Speid. What I'm saying is getting, say, an Omar Hutchinson at 18 years old, already committing to play for the country. You know, what if the boys at 15 wanted? I'm not saying force any 15-year-old. I'm not saying we should go out and scout 15-year-olds, even though I do believe that we should. But I'm not here telling you that's the right way to go. But what if at 15-year-old, you know, for example, if I was to migrate and I had my child in America, I know that my 14-year-old son is going to want to play for Jamaica, regardless of where I'm born.
And he could lose.
Because that's exactly how I'm going to raise my child, regardless of whether or not I'm living in. What if my son at 15 just wants to play for Jamaica? The best 14-year-old in the world wants
but he can. He can.
He has to be one of four?
No, yeah. No. And we do make a provision for a goalkeeper additional. We never count goalkeeper outfield players.
Yeah, I understand it, and I struggle with it because I feel like the national teams are for representation and not necessarily.
But I don't have that amount of person applying to play under 15. You know why? Let me explain to you why. We can't take somebody under 15 kid, have them out here without the parents being here. A lot of people know that, so they don't even bother try to get there. So what I say is an argument, but it's not a practical reality argument.
It never comes to it.
No.
And I understand that it might never come to 4 players. But in the rare occasion where we have 7 players who just say, yo, we want to play for Jamaica.
My son happened to be the 16th or the 17th best player.
Look here, our rule is not a shackle, you know. It's just a rule. If we say player who because even the other day we feel an under 17 team, which our rule will be 6 for girls, and it was 50-50. So it's not like it hard and fast, but yeah, work with something.
But I get it though, and before you go back to selection, how do you feel about that I was saying? That the national teams are more so for representation than for development. How do you feel about that?
You made the statement saying that, of course, if the senior team doesn't possess any Jamaican born players, you know, then what would be the point? And I agree with that. But
I didn't say that. No, I said we didn't on the senior team. We don't give them a quota. They could be all overseas.
You also said that if we have a senior team and we don't have no Jamaican players who can make the senior team, that means we would have failed our own national team. Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying I agree with that 100%, right? What was the question that you were asking?
Yeah, I'm saying even down from 15 to national team, is it not for representation more so than for development?
Yes, so shouldn't the clubs and the schools develop the players?
And the technical committee should be responsible for implementing things in the country.
Yeah, to develop the players. But the national team is not for development. That's what we're trying to say. So you said the reason why you have the 4 quota at the 15s level is because you want to develop local players. But I'm saying, should the 15s, under 15s and under 17s
should still be
before development, or should that just be for representation?
You feel about
No. Remember, I told you that we're implementing a grassroots program and the under 13 elite program.
Yeah.
So they'll start to develop from there. It's not, but when you get those elite players from 13, you want them to have something to aspire to. So both the girls and the boys under 15, we want a lot of them to believe that, yes, I can make it somewhere in a national program. And that is why we have the quota there. So it's not, and as I say, not cast in stone, but when it reach under 17, 20, we just want to go World Cup. I mean, there's no two way about it.
You could have one back here. Just give me the best players.
Right. Wherever they come from. But we still kind of have a protective element over the 17s. But I mean, the 17 is 6 and a goalkeeper. So we kind of still try to protect the local industry somewhat, because The truth is really the 17-year-olds decide where their future go after that, at the under 17 level. Under 20, that is cast already. It's really professional players. So if there's one criticism about my under 20 team that I would say publicly is that we didn't have enough professional players on the
team. 100%.
We said that here.
That's where we're at. At the under 20s. At the under 20s, it's Josh Sargent and Gargas, Nanina, so on and so forth. That's the level of players that are playing. Players who are already in Europe. And
if we had that, we'd have qualified easily.
Yeah. Even if it didn't start 7 years ago. Because it would have been good enough. Now, get back. What about through the selection? You were telling me about the influence of the technical committee.
Right, so that's our influence. It stopped right there. Right there.
So you don't recommend players?
No.
Because I asked that question because, I'm sure you saw videos on yourself on our channel. Right? And we spoke about a live that you did on Ryan's channel, and you said that you recommend players to the under 20 program or whatever. I understand that you have a big influence on the under 20.
No, not recommend players. People send players to me all the time because they know my name. I just pass them on to the respective coach. I don't recommend them. I have only remember recommending 2 players. I was not the chairman of the technical committee. That was like in 2010. I had recommended 2 players to Mr. Dunswell, who I saw playing the CASAF when CASAF was playing other parishes, and he picked on that 17 team, and I said, I took 1 player Clarion and 1 at St. Thomas. You probably know who they are, and say you should try and look at those players. I didn't even know what the players' name is. I just described them and the position that they play, and he went and looked for them. But I don't recommend no players to the national team. No coach can ever say I tell them to pick any player, because I have not. And I have, even if a coach asks me about a player, I tell them don't ask me no. Straight. Disrespect them to. I say don't ask me nothing about no player. You know why you call me name about me pick no player. And if you notice, even a lot of coaches that me recommend to them lose the job, they never come out and say me ask me pick a player. Notice that. That's a fact.
Interesting, because we here would have been of the belief that you would have enough power to recommend players. All right. So you made it very clear that you don't do it. Whether or not you have the power to do it, you don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't you think, though, you being the chair of such a powerful committee and also being associated with one of, and some years, the best clubs in the country, don't you think that one might, for example, I made a point earlier where I'm saying that, obviously you debunked my point saying that you guys possess the Jordan Jameses of the world, so you guys would have been just simply better than us at that time. But we believed, everybody else believed that when we play against Cavaliers, the whistle is going to go to black and white rather than me playing for Barbican, yellow and black. Don't you believe that you being the head of that chair, because Mr. Gale or Mr. Helgrimson or Mr. Donaldson wants to ensure that they stay in the position
and their fate is in your hands,
and their fate is in your hands, as mentioned by you. Don't you think that would then influence them to lean more favorably to your players, though?
Deliberately or not?
First thing, if he's a kiss-ass person, me not even recommend him. Me's a straight professional. Me have a day job, and me have my reputation. Me not even going to recommend it. And my players, you can ask all of them. Them always say, coach, how that them on the team and me not on it. And me say, if I have to recommend you for the team, that means you're not good enough. That's how hard I am with my players. Because I know if a player can't make the national team, how is going to go overseas and make one professional team? That is always my stance. I don't need to do those things because, like I say, football is my job. Football don't pay me, so I need football for survive. Football don't pay me. I pay for involved in football. It costs me millions. So that's a difference. And like somebody else who does football alone them though. So if they not eat their money for football, then done for. Football don't pay me. I've never collected $1 for coaching in my life. Right? And me actually take care of hundreds of kids, school fee, book lists, passport, birth paper. So that's a difference. I have no issue with the best player playing for Jamaica because I'm a nationalist. I'm not going to ask anybody to pick my player. So I hear a whole heap of argument, and I said before, how many players does Cavalier have on the national senior team?
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, this tour is weird because obviously this is not our strongest team. But like generally, perpetually, Richard King.
Yeah, we're sure Richard King.
You don't think he should be on the team?
100%.
So that debunk this theory. So I mean, if that was true, why wouldn't have more? Because I've seen other players on the team, and you see them too. We can't carry some of my players in lace, but them on the team. And that's fine, because that's the coach choice.
But then who is incompetent, Mr. Speid?
No, but then and there are players that are linked.
Now my mind, I might not be true. I might not be correct.
Hold on, what you say, Mr. Speid?
But I know my mind, I don't most be correct.
If there's a consensus.
I'm saying the coach. So that is two players. No one then doing Atkinson make the team when there's just local players, right? So that's it. On the under 20 team, Cavalier only had two players.
Mm-hmm.
They had Pearson
and
Rochester. You know where those two players are now?
Where?
Overseas with professional contract in them hand. That's the so so you see, they are saying those players is a Cavalier they should play. So why did as a matter of fact, probably them are the only two. Otherwise, when the ones that had professional contract before, who get professional contract from local. So why other people see them and give them professional contract, and it's a problem for them to play? Remember that, you know that Rochester have almost 90% pass completion rate when they look at the stats.
We like Rochester.
Yeah, we thought Rochester was
so tell me the player. So you see, one of the time when the Kasafa said, I am conflicted, and then go to the JFF board, the board asked them, just name one occasion that Speid is conflicted into, and then couldn't name one, not even one. That's it. So,
is it true?
So you have the most talented technical committee chairman ever, or person who can do the job, and you say is a choice between doing that for free, FREE, I don't get paid for doing the job, and give up my club. What you expect? But you didn't know me have my club before you offer me the job. So why should I give up my club when I feed 40 families to make it run down, transfer 12 players in the last 4 years, and we can still contribute to the national program? All the things that we just tell us and I put in train. So why shouldn't I have a job? And you can't find one occasion when we conflict.
The problem wasn't necessarily in the final selection, but it was probably in the training camp leading up to the selection.
That's what I'm going to address. No, I remember there was a training camp or a selection camp earlier this year, and I think there was 11 Cavalier affiliated players on that list, more than any other team. And Paula job was up in the air. The under 20 camp was coming around. Mr. Gill, the announcement just came out, and people were saying, the technical committee led by Mr. Speid is responsible for Mr. Gill's job.
I know people were saying, such man said that, but after him said so, people start saying so. I even put out some stupid. But so look,
is it not fair?
Hold on.
Go for it.
Hold on. What happened when we were picking the under 20? They were picking the under 20 squad.
Yeah.
What they did was look at the Premier League registration first. Look who had the age. Cavalier average age of the team right now is 19 years of age. Where the hell do you think that most people register under can play under 20? Where they all come from? And that was the first list that they picked. That is the list that they use to pick the first squad and say, okay, they were going to use the 12 Premier League teams as scout, and if they register these players, we're going to look at them first. And that is why we end up with so much players on that preliminary list. So there was a reason, not because me put them there. It was a list generated from the system, the TMS system, FIFA Connect system, and they invite all of those people. So if our average age is 19, where you think the players average age is 19, what you think? Because even some of those players were 16, they couldn't play under 20. They're too young. Some of them were 17.
Well, to that point, Mr. Speid, and let me say this, you get me, I must say, after contextualizing that, we've never taken it into consideration. Cavaliers do possess the team with the youngest average age, and as such, statistically, when another team might be averaging 24, and when they proposed the squad list, you didn't see one high school, which was something I applauded. You saw Harborview, you saw Real Money, you saw Cavaliers, so. That's something that I was impressed with, because I don't believe that under 20 should be coming from Jamaica College and Kingston College.
The list was generated from the system. That's why it's not there. So if you generate that list right now, it's probably even going to be worse, because now our average age was 20.5. Now our average age is under 19. The youngest professional team in the world That's what we have. And that's what happened when that happened. But only 2 players made the team.
That makes sense, bro.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Taking that into context,
Yeah.
You can't argue against that point.
Yeah.
If your average age of 19 and let's say Mount Pleasant average age of 24, and hypothetically speaking, I'm not sure, you're going to generate more from the team just based on eligibility alone.
Yeah. One thing you said a while ago, though, you spoke about looking at, the teams and whatever, using the National League as a scouting platform or whatever. What about academies? And I don't want to make this interview about anybody in anybody particular. Tell me about what about
Speid knows where we're going and we know where we're going.
All right, let's talk about what about academies, because a lot of fuss came about Phoenix Academy players and them being some of the best players in the country.
And also a rumor, I've heard it that players are only eligible who represent clubs registered with the JFF.
Yeah, we didn't bring that on here because we heard it behind.
That is a rumor, and you see those people, you should really just take a very dim view of people talk like that and tell lies just for no reason. There's no such thing. As a matter of fact, as I said earlier, this year the technical committee have regulations now to guide academies. You know why? We don't trust the clubs then to develop the player properly, because most clubs with their youth teams play for 2 and 3 months. It's playing a little competition and that's it for the rest of the year. The academies is the ones that we believe that train the players right through the year. So JFF move is we don't trust clubs to develop players, so we're trying to develop the academies.
Yeah.
Put the regulations out there now. And so not even one person apply for the academy. Not even one person apply for the academy. The regulation is out there. We have academies and we're going to grade them A, B, C, and D as we do everything now. Club licensing, coaching, that's how we do everything now. So it depends on your qualification or your training methods, what type of league you play. We give you a different academy license. So those people will be directly affiliated to the JFF. All academies will be directly affiliated to JFF, and they can have academic competitions between themselves. So that is our committee put that in place this year. So for people to be, you see, because people don't know some of these things, or they don't take any time out to find out what to do, or they just want to talk bad about us, we actually recognize that clubs alone can't. Academies is very important in development of the country.
Yeah. And so how, answer the question that I asked. Because of the generating platform for the players being the National League, did the academy players that already existed, you have the Mount Pleasant, you have, I think, one in Portmore, you have the Phoenix Academy. Did those players get overlooked because of that platform?
No, there was a lot of Phoenix players in the squad. There was a lot of
Kingston Football Academy.
Mount Pleasant. No, the players are younger. In the under 20 team, there was Mount Pleasant players in there. There was the academy that you just talked about. They sent me a list with 12 players to go to the camp. I sent on the list to the coach, Marcel Gale. The only problem that 5 of them did overage. So it's not true that they weren't looked at. They were looked at.
And deemed not good enough.
I don't care about that. That's not my problem. It's not me decides that they're not good enough. That's not my. You can't put that on me. None of business with that.
No, man. Asking your opinion on it.
I don't know what the reason was. I never asked the coach. I never even got to one training session. You remember tell us something about me. People just have to look on the facts, Stop. We don't have to talk about subjugation. I can go to every single match that the reggae boy play, a reggae girl, or under 20, because it's my job. I have the ability to go to every match based on my position. Have you ever seen me at one match? You never even see me at training. You know why I stay away? Because of the same thing when people think about me. I want to make sure it's beyond reproach. The only 2 match me ever go to World Cup qualifier is when we charter a jet and me go down to, and I don't know where else me go. Right? Because at that time, I wanted to see for myself what was happening with the reggae boys. Otherwise, from that, since I have this post, I've never gone to a training for nothing. 15, 17, 20 senior girls. I have never traveled overseas and gone to a match. I only watch them when they play locally. Right? Because of the same reason. When I come to watch them when they play locally, is 5 minutes before the match start. I walk in, I stay down, watch the match, and go to my house. And when me assess the match, me go back and look on my TV, and me break it down, and me decide say what me see, what me can comment about the next technical meeting when we have a review. So people say all of these things, and to be honest, me kind of suffer because of what people likely to say and don't do some of the things that I don't like for the normal do. I don't like for the training too. But you see, if me ever did it, and there's 2 Cavalier players there, you hear some come to make sure that the coach play the player. You understand? And I don't even go to training. I just want to make that clear. And nobody can tell us they never see me on training. Or that person's a liar.
All right, coach. Well, I think we've established a lot of things that needed to be cleared up, and that makes sense.
Brad, some questions coming in, and because he cleared the air and said that I have no influence on this, I can't even ask the question that I had planned to ask on that, like selection and stuff like that. But carry on.
Now, as I said, there's some things that I would have questioned before. For example, the under-20 situation. Not taking into consideration that Cavaliers is indeed the youngest team, so that cleared some stuff up, as it relates to the academies. Mr. Speid said that you have absolutely no influence in Mr. Gale making decisions that he made, right?
And I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Not him alone. Just call all the rest of coach and it's the same thing. So
yes.
On the girls team, Cavalier have a women team too, You notice nobody never asks me nothing about the women team. Cavalier have the second best women team in our country, right? People don't even know that. On the girls side, ask them. I ever approach them about a girl to play for the national team. Never, ever. And it now go ever happen. And that is why I say again, anytime anybody asks, tell them, say that something like that about me, just ask them for a specific example and say them don't same time.
And you being the head of the technical committee, it's your job to essentially submit for hiring and firing of the head coaches. Do you think Mr. Gale, well, I guess you mentioned to it earlier, but you said you didn't want to call him names. But one of the reasons why he won't be the head coach but an assistant going forward, is it because he didn't feel the strongest team? Could that be one of the reasons why you lost?
No, I told it. You see, we don't make decisions based on personal, That would be a huge mistake. I said to you, for those 3 teams, not 3, 4, because you have to talk about the women version of the under 20, which we're serious about too. For those 4 teams, our commitment is stop going for promise and go for try and prove. Right. I don't do it with Mr. Gale though. That was just a decision only.
All right, understood. Off your rule now on the JFF. Let's talk about your opinion on a few things. Recently, FIFA released a documentary titled "The Chosen One: Captains,"
and it's still kind of related to him role as chair of the technical committee. That's something that we wanted to talk about before we come off for Reggae Boys. Come on, talk about you as a coach and as a agent, as a manager. But
I'm not an agent and I'm not a manager.
We're going to talk about.
I'm a coach. That's I'm a sporting director, Cavalier. I'm not an agent.
So this is the last thing we'll talk about as it relates to JFF and your role within the JFF. The documentary Captains.
That's a great look.
It was very revealing, very ominous for people like myself and Rush.
I enjoyed it.
Huge Reggae Boy fans. I wish if that could have stayed behind closed door. What are your thoughts on the documentary itself, first and foremost?
I haven't watched it.
Well, I know that being in the JFF, you know of somebody.
No, but the thing is, sir, even if you don't watch it as a fan like we, just patronizing Netflix, I think based on your occupation, you should go and watch it.
I don't want to watch it. One of the things is I'm different from most people. I tell you already, I'm a progressive person. I'm not worried about what happened in the past. What I'm working on with the coach, otherwise from his contract, working on a compliance document where both the JFF comply, the players comply, and the coach comply with certain things for things to run efficiently. So I am not the type to go back to say him say and she say and who say from that. So the document that I'm working on is to go forward to make sure that everything runs smooth. And so me and the coach back and forth working on this document. And I did start to work on it with Mr. Hall too. So it's not like it's a no thing, because some of those things that happen, hey, me are the first one to tell you, the JFF wasn't perfect. I will pass the place to do. I mean, a whole heap of people in places were supposed to do better, didn't do better. So I'm not going to, and I know that it affects Jamaica technical performance. Let me tell you something. My opinion is that Jamaica can rank in the top 13 of the world easily. You know, me personally believe that if all our people come together and stop world political fighting. For instance, let me give you an example. You know, sorry, me never even telling this about me. I was the head of the Commonwealth Games, you know, Jamaica delegation to the Commonwealth Games. I was the chef de mission. I was the head of the Jamaica delegation to the Pan American Games in 2019. Don't believe, say, others football people ask me for serving. People ask me for serving at almost every single sport, like every single sport. Some of them, I was the president of Volleyball Association for 6 years between 2014 and 2020. I was one match away from the Beach Olympics. So though I just don't excel in football. I excel everywhere I go, right? So when I went to England at the end of the summer gone, you know, so the netball team was there. And them had a lot of issues. Them not get whole heap of things that them supposed to get. And you know, say there was a meeting that the sports psychologist went to and came back and reported to me, and he said that the girls say, listen, the team sit down and say, listen, no negative. We have go for the title. We no business if we have to play barefoot or we no have nothing to eat or no negative. Title we say. And you saw them almost put it off, beat Australia and come second. Remember netball in history?
Yeah.
Some of the time, yes, the JFF mess up. But you as a player now can say, you know, your mindset, this is them, man. Yo, make a go work up my team. And pull the team together and go after it. You see me? You see my point I make? The point I make is that
I was making that point too.
Everybody can mess up.
You know? Oh God, man, you just play for we. You get me? I say that's get it together.
Can look here, the JFF is there and then can't move them. They will be in a position for the next 10 years because them are administrator, them have long life, you know. You as a player, your life short, you know. After you miss the World Cup and you don't know if you're going next one, you know. So if you can go on one, when you think about yourself and the fans and the people who claim say you love, instead you just say, the JFF, this and now. Come on. That's why I tell you, me not even want to see it because it's not relevant to where me go.
Man,
go back, forward me go.
And it leads me to think that some of the things that we know, the fight in the dressing room, you know, with Alva Spoil and one of the English guys, we saw that in the documentary. We saw, you know, the segregation, Andrew Blake speaking on the fact that there is, in fact, some segregation between the English players and the Jamaican-born players that, you know.
Oh, but I know those things, you know. That's why I know those things before, you know. I knew those things. You know. That is one of the things that prompted me to get a coach.
There we go.
So I know those things. I don't have to watch it, you know, because I remember saying me those knowledge I have, right? And you know my opinion about that because a lot of these players, too, you see, me know them too when they was living in Jamaica and where they used to live, you know, and where they used to go through, you know. So you can't tell me say you get a 3-star hotel and it's a problem because you don't get a 5-star. You can't tell me say you get a economy plus seat and you someone in a first class you vex, so you start kicking about your own goal. You can't tell me those things because me know you from your little boy. Remember, you know, when most Cassava president, they are one of the only person who travel with the Cassava team under 13 and 15 go every single month. Sometimes me borrow the Gleaner bus when I used to work at Gleaner and drive them myself. Me drive them myself and me stop at every place me can find and feed hundreds of people on my own, you know. So like I say, me don't know these people. Me used to play against them. Me know all of these players where I play for Jamaica now. Me know every single one of them, where them born, or which house they used to live in, how much stick catch up their house. Me know all of these things about them. Me guard them, some of them house. So when me say them a behave so now, me now say we not wrong, you know. And me now say we not for the better, you know. But at the end of the day, at Jamaica, we don't have resources where England and USA and those people.
Wait, no, Mr. Speed, repeat that for people where want to hear. You get me? I say, put him on the big screen, bro. Repeat that people them want to hear because you know that's accountability is something that we've been wanting from the JFF, and I think the new JFF is taking some responsibility. Repeat what you said a while ago about the statement about
we are wrong and we do.
Yeah. No, enough things with the foolishness, man. Wrong with the people them that we have doing the work and the right person, they're not efficient enough. All of that happen. But at the end of the day, if me personally go through enough of that and know say me still have to carry on the bacon. Me can't choke me another year because somebody diss me at work and say me walk off of the work. and then the family over at home are hungry. Which in this case, it will be that the players not satisfied. So what you do? All of the fans then, you know, business that is all of the fans then dissatisfied. Just let me just give you one easy example. When I was a treasurer, you know, no, let me not give you an example. If me owe you money and you strike and you're not trained and you're distracted, your performance now gonna be the where it should be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So when me pay the money now, come you pay eventually. How me get back the bad performance? Or you atone for the bad performance? And you get your money now, you know. You see my point? And that is why we can't understand why, you know, when I went, you see the two tours of me tell us I'm go on. As I said, I have to watch a documentary. There was this clear segregation, like the Englishman and they are so nationals they are so.
I will see it.
You know, so it's not like say me no know, and that is one of the reasons why me going on. Because more I see it for myself what is happening when the results them start coming badly. That is why I tell you.
Do you think the previous head coach and coaches had anything to do to incite the segregation though?
Or even not to stop it?
I don't care if I'm inside it or if my team. As far as me is concerned, under my ruling, me will tell a player say, you see when me call you, because I me call you, you know. So when you come here, me and you only a plot how to win the game. After me gone, you can go cost JFF before or after. But if you come, you can't tell me say yeah strike. You can't tell me say you give me 100% because me now call you back. That would have been my stance. Me don't know about the next man. That would have been my stance. I mean, not care where your name or who your name. That would have been my stance.
Right. That's what New Gen said.
Yeah, and I did say this would have been the last thing related to JFF, but I lied. Unfortunately, there's something that I wanted to touch on. You know, the appointment, Mr. Chung, our next person that we've been very impressed about. Please speak about your involvement, or even not your involvement, your thoughts on his appointment and the partnership that you guys can foster going forward.
Well, there's two committees that I'm on, you know, which a lot of I'm also on the finance committee. And Mr. Chung was the one who chaired it, because you know I'm a chartered accountant by trade, right?
Yeah.
So when the idea came up that he would take the job, I was like, okay, new coach. We signed up a contract with the girls to 2023 for pay. Boys contract signed up to 2023 for pay. Those were part of things that I did. Negotiation, new coach contract signed, both coach assistant and goalkeeper coach, technical staff for women signed. Pure good news we have been getting for the last 3 months. You know, the Adidas deal signed. Chung, the new general secretary. So we are on a roll. Yesterday we get a new boss. Talk to a new sponsor, and him say more sponsor the reggae girl.
Yeah.
So we are on a roll right now. We are on a roll. And so when Chung idea came up, I was the first one I put up 2 hands because I think you know, I love Dalton Win, you know, until get it clear, you know. Me like Dalton Win, but Chung is a different animal. He's somebody who me think corporate Jamaica will see as somebody who they can trust one. Somebody who has been around billions of dollars, like myself. Right? They can trust him. Somebody who when in game word is his bond. And I just think we're going in the right direction now. We have other things coming up, you know. But you know, so just watch these pages, man. JFF strength to strength. We have somebody now who is a projects manager, because you know, just the other day, the technical department, we applied for FIFA for some funding for talent identification, to train people to identify talent. Because that was a lot of people don't know talent. You know? Even if you look up on them, they wouldn't know a talented player. Them use them eyes for judge and don't know. Say the eyes is not a good judge most of the time. So we're doing that program, but there's other programs that FIFA has that we could apply for that we have not been applying for. So now we have a project manager in place who is going to be looking to apply for all of those. So no man, things really looking up, and now we know so we have a real good CEO. Somebody was acting that position, not a football person. He is a professional CEO in that position. We couldn't ask for a better person, man. FIFA is elated, conquer people love him already. It's just pure.
I can imagine, bro. What's his football? Obviously, we'd love to talk to Mr. Chung. Mr. Chung, if you're watching this, please come and talk to us. We're begging you to come, and we'd love to speak to our big fans.
He will come. I will tell him. He will come.
Football acumen, if any, because we don't care if he's.
I don't care either.
So we don't care about his football acumen. But what
No,
is
no.
football acumen?
I don't know if he has a lot of that, but we'll help him. We don't mind. We will help him too. But he's smart and he understands the game. So I don't have any issue with him. As you know, some of the best people in football never even play the game.
Yeah. And as I said, in his position, we need somebody who is a certified manager. Certified
we need a CEO more than a football person.
And that's exactly what it is. So we're big fans of that appointment. So
just come to me, bro.
What that?
I can't ignore it. The JFF, where's the JFF getting all this money? New coach, new general secretary, new things happening.
Where was it before?
Yeah, where was it before? Where we getting all this money? And you can't go around this one because you're a finance man.
No. I mean, I'm a member of the finance committee. It's not that I'm a member. And as I said before, I'll always be around football. So maybe I switch from technical to finance in the next administration. Just to get rid of you guys to pass me the whole full question. So but yeah, we have a new deal with Adidas. Everybody know about that new deal. There's a lot of money there. That was really a good negotiation. FIFA in football now. This is the time to be in football if you ever want to be in football. FIFA has literally guaranteed everybody a 25% increase on all of their allocations that they used to get. We have sponsors that we met with one last week, and the response was, "Why didn't you come to me earlier to sponsor the Reggae Girls?" So when we go through all our budgeting, and we realize that we can afford it. Plus, with better improve operational, which Mr. Chung will bring. I mean, it's no secret that sometimes we spend so much money on traveling. So we're kind of in a better place. We pay off a lot of our debts what we used to because remember, we had a debt carrying of almost 300 million from the previous administration. We're kind of half that by now. So you understand. So there's a lot less burden and strain on us, and there's professional people dealing with the finances. We have a meeting every Tuesday where we sit down and go through the finances and say, this we must do this or we must do that. So the executive sit down. So we have a better lead on what is happening now and better management. Plus we have some additional fund coming in. So we feel like we can pull off everything. Plus there was some serious negotiation to get those coaches to sign for the figure what them signed for. We had to sell the coach, the dream, the 2026 dream, put it on the resume. Good thing about the coach is not poor. You see, again, there's a difference. This coach having things, he's a dentist by nature and by trade. He's a professional person. And he work at Qatar. So so he make a lot of money. So again, it's more the dream we sell him than the money for him to come here. And that is why also we know saying he's corruptible. Unlike us that anybody will corrupt him, because not like a man also said to him, say, pick me player when they sell him, give him money. Him would say, brother, I'm gonna need money. So it's a win-win every way you look at it, And we have it, man. We have it.
And the last one before we talk about, because the Adidas deal just brought something to my mind. Marketing. Will we be seeing the players and the JFF and the merchandise be marketed better? Because it is absolutely absurd that I cannot go and buy a Leon Bailey shirt. I would have spent $200 on a Leon Bailey shirt. So, and I'm sure many people will. Will there be better marketing, especially with a big brand like Adidas? Like what new will we be seeing?
Right. So we send out we call it for people to give us bids to produce a website for us, which will be a commercial website.
Yeah.
So we have about 2 or 3 bids coming in. So we're going to be choosing a provider pretty soon. And we have also interviewed about 2 or 3 persons for the marketing director job. So we didn't have one before, and that is probably one of the reasons why they didn't see those things. So once we put those in place, we should be good. And as I say, everything now gonna happen one time, but you can see the direction we're moving into, and those things are high on the agenda. In addition to that, I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff, to try and fix things. So in addition to that, this year and at the next AGM, I think it's either November or early December, we're going to be changing the constitution. So instead of 13 parishes able to vote, it's going to be 57 persons now. So we're opening it up so more people can take part in a democratic process to ensure that them choose the right leader. So there's a whole heap of things that we're doing to make the thing better. But as I said before, people are trying to say the bad things, but JFF is on a different track.
That's exactly what we're bringing out.
Oh, by the way, before you leave, I have to tell you this too. Any blogger who libel us, we have to sue them. So we are protect our image too and our reputation. So all of them bloggers that we keep on attack all sort of foolishness. Any of you turn on bad boy, we'll sue you. I mean, just I tell you please, straight.
No, I mean anyone talk nothing bad boy because if
that is not true. That is not true. That is not true.
All right.
We need to draft up you or something. You.
All right.
You say such player. Every player where they are Cavalier, and when they play against Cavalier, or they play at the Cavalier people in
Mr. Speid, there was a combine in December.
Which combine?
That Cavaliers participated in.
You see the match?
Yeah, that's what I said.
What was the score?
I don't remember the score. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Phoenix. I don't remember the score, but I know for sure Whisper scored in that game.
What
score?
What was the score?
That game.
What was the score? 4-2. 4-2. 4-2 in favor of Cavalier. Yes. And we were just tying with them. And when the match done, every single scout come over to me. Every single one like stands. 4-2.
I can't remember. Well,
by the way, such team play Cavalier for 20 years straight and never win a match. 20 years straight.
I can't speak on that. The only time I saw the two teams play would have been that one match about the combine. And Whisper was outstanding, Mr. Speid.
He was outstanding for 10 minutes. And licked the post with Jedin, and that was it. That's what I remember. But it's on the YouTube. Go and watch it. Don't take my word for it. Go back and watch it. It's on YouTube.
So that's all me saying. That's all me saying. Me see that game that I see Whisper run.
I never even notice him. For 10 minutes, he run hard, lick the post. After that, it was all Cavalier. 4-2 was the match. We lead 2 half time. Them scored 2 goals in about 5 minutes, and we just scored back 2 goals. It was one-way traffic. I don't know where you watch.
So when me talk about that, it's just that one encounter.
We play a whole lot more time. We play a whole lot more time.
One alone mistake. And in addition to that, I genuinely believe, because me and Mr. Butler would have been in an argument already over Richard King. Rush can account for that. But I think it was
on the channel too.
Probably on his channel. Or no, maybe it was on this channel. I'm not sure. But we're getting an argument over Richard King, which me believes say a national team should not be called up and Richard King is not involved. Right? And I'm one who said it's loud and clear. I'm gonna say it every single time I talk about the Reggae Boys. I don't believe anybody playing the JPL must get called up to the Reggae Boys team. With one exception. I must say sparingly one exception, and that's Richard King.
Anyway. I don't really want to talk about players there, because once me say anything, it all just I don't like to be normal sometimes. I should be able to. But once me say anything, people just interpret it different. So I don't like to talk about players. But anyway, as I said before, we're not into the process of fighting anybody. We want Jamaica to believe Jamaica can unite top 30. I'm just like everybody to work together. And just make it happen.
Because I can tell you straight, me love Whisper, I also love Richard King. Two are my favorite players. Them I play locally right now. I not have the side, but it's just genuinely believe a Whisper, a top quality footballer. Genuinely believe that. I'm also, and what we wanted to segue to was about Richard King and other players that he sent overseas and why Richard King is still playing here. Because we don't love that.
All right. So we did get an offer for Richard, a substantial offer from the USA. But he had visa issues. We couldn't just get a visa for him. Even the other day, we just couldn't get a visa for him. So that is why he didn't go up for that offer. But at the same time, you have him will talk to me and him get along good and him value my advice and all that. But you still have people in our ears. What Jamaicans are. The people on the street corner. So the thing is that everybody tell him that he must go to Europe. And we did sign for a top agents in Europe who had people like Saka and Sancho. Him signed for the elite group. But they haven't been able to find anything for him. So that is the only reason why he's here. We have another option. So I don't think he'll finish the Premier League. If him don't get anything, we have another option still. Also, may expect teams to coming back for him in a January window. So I mean, we just keep our fingers crossed. But I don't think him being here with Cavalier is a bad thing. You see, because a lot of people don't realize that Richard is still 20.
Yeah.
You know, and his development from him left school to where he is now is phenomenal. So nobody can say we're not develop him up properly. But me still think him have a few little more things to learn. But still, we're ready for him go. It's just that the opportunity. He had the opportunity to go to the US, but everybody was telling him, no, don't take it.
USL, MLS, with NSL or whatever the third division.
Anybody, people from USL, those people come to me, agents will come to me and tell me, say, I have opportunity in USL, and the next one you talk, them will never talk to me again. Because I asked them, that is what you're seeing, Richard. and I said, well, if I that you say, don't call me back. So it's really MLS.
But I genuinely believe Richard King.
I like that.
Me personally believe that. What do you have to say about my belief that I don't believe that any JPL player should be able to make this team?
All right, so
no,
I am a realist. Let me explain to you. No, let me explain to you. Every country should try to have two teams. One, we are the killing team where when you go for win, you carry that team and a development team. A lot of good countries, that's what they practice. Them have a, because you must develop and you must have a team that win games. So even USA, even when they come to the last World Cup, they carry the development team. They didn't carry the right team, right? So Jamaica must start to do that.
The USA team have all MLS ballers though. Even if them not go for them European ballers, I still at squad of 23 man we are playing at MLS.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's their development. If you look on it, it's them development team because them can go for better players. I'm just saying Jamaica have to have that policy, which is something I will sit on from our committee and say, coach, you might need to look at this. Is this choice, So you have the team where so you have to use when you in tournaments and World Cup qualifiers or top friendlies. But you have a next team where you pick something from Caribbean or South, Middle America, and play those things for development purpose. Because you're right, on the face of it, none of them can play in the top team. None of the local players, on the face of it. But you can't leave them on their own. You have to develop them because the young ones who are 18 and 19 and 20, at some stage in the game, they will form a part of your top team. Or you have to at least give them the chance.
So, something that I like, I mind development teams it's going to consist of 27-year-olds, bro. Something that I like is when England play, when their senior team play, they have the 21s that they carry with them. The 21s might have a 22-year-old and they get messed because it's not an official FIFA competition. But every time England senior team play, them carry them 21s. So we see the likes Chalobah and so on and so forth that travels with that team. I don't mind having a Jamaica B that consists of players under 23 that might travel on the day and they might get some friendlies. Like say we go to Cameroon, they might play a Cameroon university team or an African domestic team, so on and so forth.
Well, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. So we're looking at is like them play Antigua or them play Honduras or Guatemala, a team where still good, but
so you don't think it's important for I'm going to put this out there. This would have been off the top a team that I would love to see. Blakey, Ethan Pinnock, Damian Lowe, Javier Brown, Greg Lee, Lambert, Rafael, Bobby, Leon, Michael. Don't you think it's important for those men to come together and give Antigua 6 and 7 though? Every time them get the chance?
No, because
continuity.
No, because all right. So for instance, if you look at, you have to deal with reality. Next year, we have the Nation League in March, right? So we know we're going is at the back end of the window. The window is about 10 days. So if we could have get a game before that, maybe locally here, where the players would not play every day in the club, plus the locals playing at that game, that would be good for us. And then we go to Mexico, go beat up Mexico with the strongest team possible. So it's something like that we're looking at. Now remember the June window, once we win that game, we're going to be in the semi-final and the final of the Nations. So right away, we'd have 2 more games in June. And then a couple of days after that, the World Cup, So there's nothing wrong with us giving those lesser players a chance for coach pick 2 or 3 of them. Because in the Cameroon game today, the coach say only 3 man look out to carry in his squad,
Perfectly fine. And
Right.
Good talk.
mind that.
So it's something like that we are trying to achieve, make sure it's the locals, because you still can't have a Premier League and the local player don't have nowhere to go. Because somebody, it's not necessarily for them to make a national team, but you also want some of them to leave the country and improve. It's like our Paris leave the country and improve now that him really ready now for playing at the big times. Things like that have still happen to our Premier League.
Shamar Nicholson too.
Yeah. You have to make them can move out. But if you don't make them get that light up there, so them not going ever go.
Mr. Speid, we have so much more to talk, but we have to go bring it back on our channel, sir.
But a good talk. I enjoyed it, bro. And I titled it Football Talk for a reason. We touched so many topics and we covered so many bases.
You know,
So
when
really
we have to
enjoyed
get him back, after him help to get Mr. Trump on the channel, then we can get him back after that. You get me? There's a bit more stuff, some controversial, some more about football that I want to get into on a future day. Obviously, we have work for we are going to go to the Manning Cup game because we get on that. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Obviously, some preconceived notions coming into the interview because you hear some things before. You get me? Based on some stuff that I would say. But I am just a proprietor of Jamaican football. Anything Jamaican football I love, I have no side. We just want the truth. You get me? And that's why we did need to get it.
All right, and I'm happy you did it because if people just sit down and listen and don't have this preconceived idea, then they would have learned some things because and as I said before, if you look at the rapport that I have with majority of people in Jamaica, you'll be surprised. When I go and play a match in the country, I have to stay there for 2 hours after the game to talk to people. People want, and I say, but I talk to people, say them wait, and then just line up one long line and I have to talk to every single person. So you have a few detractors, but people interested in finding out what might happen to this, what might happen to my club, how me develop my club, how me do this. And I am willing here to share the idea with everybody how we can develop Jamaica football or things that I know that they don't know. I'm willing to share with everybody all the time. So I want to come on and go.
Thanks for the answers and thanks for clearing up. Thanks for answering questions that others might not want to answer and clear up some things. But we'll put you under pressure about. You get me? So much appreciated, sir. And we hope we can do this again and talk about some more and some different things in the future.
All right. I'll send him that job number you call him.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
There you have it, bro. I enjoyed it. Nice talk.
And not only did I enjoy it, bro, but it was illuminating. I definitely learned a lot. And some things that, being smart, educated people as we claim to be, Rush, we wouldn't have identified after that. For example, Cavaliers being the youngest average team.
Yeah, we should have
naturally they're going to have a lot in the camp.
And just 2 going.
Yeah, so we might have obviously should have had the foresight to have identified that, the perspicacity to identify that. But I guess we're human beings at the end of the day, and that's why we brought on Mr. Speid to answer some questions that needed to be asked. Because there's so many things in the JFF that we are unsure about, and that's why we stretch our arms far and wide to try and get these answers.
And at the end of the day, we love Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people that represent Jamaica, the people that are responsible for running whatever we love.
Mm-hmm.
We want to hear from them, and we want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
And whenever we hear something that we do, like we're going to come up, we're going to talk about it. And if we get an opportunity like this to speak to Mr. Speid or Mr. Chung or Mr. Ricketts or whoever, we are going to ask them the questions that the people want to know. I said something in the video that we did on Mr. Chung, and I say the people that support something, they want to know that you hear them, you listen to them, and they want to feel like you can relate to them. You understand? So when Mr. Speid come down to our level and really break down certain things to us, we appreciate it. And I'm sure the viewers watching this video, they'll also appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, bro. It was as I said, very illuminating, very educating, and we definitely have to catch up back with Mr. Speid another time. But people, as we are busy people, and we have to get going to
gotta hit the road
because we provide the content for you guys, as I said, unprecedented. So we do it with JFF, and we're going to do it with the Manning Cup right now, bro. We're going to take our Woolmans. No, not Woolmans. That was yesterday. Mona, Georges, Casey, Charlie. There's a lot going on. So people have to get going.
Oh God, don't forget, like this video. Leave a comment under the video and subscribe to this or that Sports TV. One more thing.
Share the video to at least 10 people, and for this outstanding and educating interview today, get us 7 subscribers just for that one. So we'll go back to 6 in a row, but just for that one, get us 7 subscribers. Do you know how many subscribers that could get us by the end of the day?
Wow, holy. People, don't forget this or that. Sorry. You guys will never forget.
You keep on telling people don't forget. Like, this the people then, bro.
For now, This was the side at Sports
Read it
TV.
on your shirt, bro.
Yeah.
People, if you like the shirt, DM up on Instagram. I will get one
You
too.
see logo, don't know the thing go.
Yeah,
But no, this was the side at Sports TV.
I will.
Yes, sir.